Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Exploring Awesome. I am your host, Jim Kellner, and today's topic is exercise. However, don't tune out immediately because we are going to talk a little bit about some of the reasons why you need to. Just as a reminder, I know most of us know why, but I'm also going to get into some strategies for helping you to exercise. I'm also going to touch on a few things that you may not have thought of or even knew of were reasons to exercise. Before we get into that, though, I do want to apologize. My intention was to do one of these podcasts every week, and I've had some difficulty with that, and so I've decided I need to make it. It's a little more difficult than I expected. There's a lot more to it than I thought, and so I'm going to commit to myself to be doing one every 2 weeks, so bi-weekly, and if I get another one done in between there, it'll be a bonus episode. Because I I hate that when I've got this one guy that I listen to, and it's supposed to be a weekly podcast, and sometimes it actually is like a month or more before he gets one up, and a little aggravating when you're expecting it and you're looking forward to it. So as I know many of you three are. Hi, Mom. And I also want to remind everyone, or let you know if you haven't heard already, that I will be in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Phoenix, but I'll be in Seattle June 8th at the Comedy Underground doing my comedy hypnosis show. I should mention, too, for those who are tuning in for the first time, that I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm also a stage hypnotist. All right, so, and also, if you'd like to get a tryout hypnosis for free, you can, of course, go to my website, jimkellner.com, sign up for the newsletter, which is coming out this week, the very first one, and it's almost written, and sign up for the newsletter, and you will get a complimentary, free hypnosis download titled Relax Now. It's a really good one, and of course, because I made it. All right, now, tell you what, do any of you, just curious, any of you have trouble getting your exercise in? Even though you know it's good for you? Yeah, I bet. A couple of you. I know because I've been there, believe me. And sometimes I still have trouble making it work. So today I want to explore some of the reasons why we need to exercise, as I say, as a reminder, because most of us already know. It may be some new information for those of you who don't. And then we're going to discover some ways to make exercise work for everyone. Because I really do think that nearly everyone can exercise regardless of your time schedule, your physical limitations, whatever. Now, I know one of the big challenges that people have is this idea of, because this is what I hear from clients a lot, is I just can't fit it into my schedule. I got to tell you, I think this whole quote-unquote fitting it in is part of the problem. See, do you just fit in work? Showering? Feeding the kids? I hope not. That's the thing. Unless you prioritize it and decide you're going to make it happen, just like you're going to make it happen that you're going to feed the kids or walk the dog, whatever, oftentimes it just doesn't happen. Because for a lot of us, at least in the beginning when we're first starting out on the exercise thing, it's not something we're looking forward to. Right? It's not something that we're excited about, that we jump out of bed in the morning and go, woohoo, I get to go exercise. There's almost always something we'd rather be doing. So, look, there's absolutely no doubt that exercise is hugely important for our physical, mental, even our emotional health. And really, you know what? There's hardly a disease or condition that exercise won't improve and or prevent. Now, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, is one where too much exercise can be a detriment, too vigorous exercise, too strenuous. Also, someone with chronic fatigue syndrome can overdo it. And there are a few out there that, maybe are contraindicated for, or exercise is contraindicated for. But for the most part, wow, just about everything. Exercise improves, prevents, whatever. I want to go into real quickly, I'm just going to touch on something. According to the CDC, this is kind of a downer, but we'll get through it quickly. According to the CDC, the leading causes of death in 2010, number one is heart disease. Down the list, number 4 is stroke. We have diabetes, I think about number 6. Now, the evidence is pretty much conclusive that exercise prevents and/or improves all of these conditions. So these are some of the obvious ones, okay, that we know. Okay, yes, to prevent heart disease, I need to exercise. But number 2 on the list is cancer. And you may not have known this, but research has actually shown that at least certain forms of exercise are preventable and/or improved with exercise. And some of the ones we may not think about, accidents is on the list. And so you may not think, well, how could exercise help with that? Well, the thing is, if you have a stronger body and you have better balance, maybe you avoid some of those accidents. Which, of course, I mean, you will have a stronger body and better balance when you exercise. Another one, influenza and pneumonia. Now, because exercise actually increases immune function, it can likely help with these illnesses as well. Now, that's moderate exercise. If you exercise too much, and even if you're doing something that's really good for you, like maybe a high-intensity interval training, which is sort of the new thing that's the research is really showing is really helpful for improving your fat loss and improving, whatever it is, endurance, those kind of things, strength, doing high intensity interval training. Sorry, no, I've not been drinking. Now, and if you want some more information on that, check it out. HIIT, or high intensity interval training. There's also a Tabata protocol, which was sort of Dr. Tabata was the guy who sort of first came up with this idea. I believe, or at least it was the first one that I read about, and they did some research on ice skaters in Japan and found that it was very beneficial. And I'll of course put some show notes about that as well. And I just want to let you know too, especially for this particular topic, there's not going to be a whole lot of information in the show notes because I don't have a big section for that. But I actually wrote another article just for this podcast, for this topic, on my blog. And so I'll put a link to that in the show notes, and you can go get more information there in case I can't fit it all into the show notes section. Down here also on the list is intentional self-harm, suicide. This is the last downer topic. Oftentimes this is caused by mental illness, including depression, and exercise has been shown to help with depression, some mental conditions. So as we can see, just by doing some exercise, we're going to prevent and/or improve, our longevity, which is important. And I'll tell you, the thing for me though is while that's all good and well, but it's sort of out in the future, Although as I'm getting older, that whole idea of heart disease and cancer is kind of sneaking up on me, stroke, because I'm getting to the age where that happens to people. And so, but I know as a young person, it was always like, that's way out in the future. So, I'll start exercising when I get a little older, when I really need to. But and so really what I think, those aren't even the most important reasons to me to exercise. For me, the most important reasons for me are the payoff that I get immediately. Because see, if you're thinking about the reward later that may or may not come, it's a little tougher. But if you think about the reward you're getting right now, which there really is, and I'll tell you the first one that comes to mind is the increased energy. There was a great study I just read a little bit ago, and I do wish that I would keep track of these and put footnotes to them. But I'm sure if the great thing about Google now, I mean, you can if you punched in, research, nap versus exercise for energy, I'm sure you'd find it. And of course I could do that right now, but I'm not going to. I'll let you do that if you don't believe me, or if you want some more information about it. The thing with this is they actually found that if you felt tired, like in the afternoon or something, that actually going for a walk or doing some sort of exercise would give you more energy than if you took a nap. So that's pretty cool. But just in and of itself, when you exercise, you have more energy. You have more energy usually afterwards and just long term. And I discovered this for myself because back when I was at my heaviest and I wasn't exercising, and of course the food that I was eating played a part into it too, but I felt terrible all the time. I had zero energy. I didn't sleep well. Let's not revisit that nightmare. Now the other thing is improved mood. I just talked about depression, but just overall, just feeling better, feeling more confident, feeling happier. These are some of the other payoffs of exercise. Better stress control. In fact, I was just confronted with this a few weeks ago, as I've talked about in some of the other podcasts. I was stressing about some upcoming shows and some traveling for them, and also launching the hypnotherapy practice here in Phoenix, which I just moved from Seattle, and so it's been a big transition, opening a new office and all this, and the stress just jumped up on me, and I hadn't been exercising as much as I should have because I was really working too much, and then I got stressed, and anyway. So it definitely helps with stress control. And another thing is you have a better quality of life. I do so much more now that I never did when I was too tired to get up and do anything but surf the web and watch TV. I'm out hiking, and I'm out spending time with friends, or just really engaging with life. Reminds me of a client I had, Maxine. And you can actually, she's got a testimonial on the website, jimkellner.com. And she's lost 70 pounds. And not just lost 70 pounds, but become hugely active. When I was talking to her recently, and she said that after work, she nearly always had to take a nap because she was so tired. Now she's out running 5Ks. She hikes nearly every day during the summertime, and a lot of times during the wintertime. She's doing dancing classes with her husband. She's met a lot of new people, and just a lot happier person with the changes that she's made. The other reason to exercise for me is that when you're exercising, you tend to just do a lot of other things better. You eat better. You're more productive. Your sleep is better. There's just so many other values other than just looking out there to that future day when you may or may not have a stroke or a heart attack or something like this. Which, don't get me wrong, they're important, but I like the stuff that happens immediately. I do like that immediate gratification, which you absolutely get with exercise. Now I know a lot of you are going, yeah, blah blah. I know all these reasons why I should be exercising. And because, look, as I said, almost all of us understand the importance of it. But even those who recognize the value and are even willing to do it, they often get hung up on the amount of time they need to spend on exercise, which is understandable because you know what? If you look at the current recommendations, I mean, depending on what expert you're talking to or what group is making the announcement, this is anywhere between 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week, all the way up to 90 minutes a day most days of the week. In fact, I think there was, I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of the groups, about a year ago or something, came out and said, we got to do 45 minutes a day, 6 days a week. And look, I know personally how daunting that can sound. Even now, I mean, even though I do about that much exercise, but if I think about it in those terms, I go, wow, that's a lot of exercise. And so, going from zero to, say, even 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week can be a challenge, I mean, physically and mentally. It's tough. And so I want to talk about how we can maybe make that happen. And I'll tell you, it's not very glamorous, but as I've talked about before, when I was at my heaviest, every time that I went to see the doctor, the nurse would ask me if I'd started exercising yet. And I would say, no, I haven't done it. And then she would implore me, really. I remember her, I think her name was Mickey. And I just remember her saying, please, just start. Just do 5 minutes. Could you do a 5-minute walk a couple days a week? And I would go, 5 minutes? What a waste of time, right? I mean, that's not going to burn many calories. That's not going to do anything for me. And so it was really tough to sell me on that. Um, I mean, truly, because you can't burn many calories with a 5-minute walk. But when I finally decided that I would give it a try, I tell you what, people, that's when my transformation began. And I mean transformation not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, financially, career-wise, in just nearly every area of my life. And I'll tell you, it's embarrassing to say, but that 5 minutes, it wasn't easy. That first time, that first few times. I can't even, it's kind of funny now. It's embarrassing to think of how difficult it was to get myself to do 5 minutes. I mean, I really had to push myself those few first, a bunch of times really. And, it wasn't like it was torture. It was like something I couldn't do, I mean, although it was kind of it was a struggle at times to, I topped out at about 270, maybe more. And not a healthy 270. I was not in. It wasn't like there's some people that they may be 270, but they exercise. And they're still strong. I wasn't. I was in terrible shape. And sometimes just walking across the floor, it hurt my feet, my legs, my back. And boy, that 5 minutes, it just seemed like, gosh, that's just way too much time to spend on this, right? And because there's so many other things that I'd rather be doing, like pretty much anything else. But you know what? Here's the thing. In the years since I first began with that 5-minute walk, I've done Bikram yoga, which is the hot stuff, which was, I'll be honest, it was a challenge. I started doing Zumba regularly for a while. I haven't started back up since I got down here to Phoenix. I haven't found a place to do it yet. So I'm getting my exercise in other ways. And this is one that clients will. This is what gets me is clients will tell me, I can't do Zumba because I just would feel stupid. Believe me, I know the feeling. You do. You're just gonna have to get over that. Get over that feeling of feeling stupid, because that's where everybody begins. Nobody starts off. Well, I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that because there are many people that have had dance backgrounds or whatever, but even going to a different instructor, they have different moves. And so you're always going to be learning something new. And, do what I did. I just went to the back of the room at first, and I just sort of kind of watched, did what I could do. And then it became actually really fun, which I never, ever in my life thought that I would like Zumba, because I had never been somebody who had been good at dancing or anything. And a couple of times my hips actually moved, believe it or not, really, and they had never moved before. So that was exciting. I'm hiking more. I even began, for a while I was running at lunchtime because that was the most convenient time to exercise, and that was the sort of the quickest thing that I could do. And believe me, running at lunchtime was not something that I ever saw myself doing. And I got to even kind of enjoying it. Really, I kind of did. I'll tell you, one of the things that can help too in doing your exercise, it would have been tough for me to exercise without podcasts. I know a lot of people like to listen to music when they exercise, which is great. If that works for you, fantastic. For me, that just didn't do it. And I'll tell you, there are definitely advantages to not listening to something or watching something while you're exercising, because you can get more into your body and maybe there's some better results there. You know what, though? Leave all that aside and do what works for you. And for me, I started listening to podcasts about health and wellness. Some of the ones I started with, I think my very first podcast I started listening to when I got a new phone a couple years ago was Superhuman Radio. And it's mostly about lifting weights and bodybuilding and stuff. But man, there's some great information on there. And Carl Lenore is awesome, and Larissa. And I started listening to on the Rob Wolf podcast and Making Shift Happen with Dean Dwyer. And that's what I did. And the great thing too about listening to health and wellness podcasts as opposed to maybe a comedy one or something like this, which I love to do also, is whatever you focus on in life, you get more of. So see, if you're listening to podcasts on health and wellness, you're focusing on health and wellness, you're going to get more health and wellness. So that was just a little something that helped me. And I know it's helpful with a lot of clients. Also, maybe an audio book, same thing too. I mean, you could listen to I remember when I would listen to like a good story, a good audio book, like a fiction book. And sometimes you exercise a little bit longer just because you want to get to the end of that chapter or something. And so that's a great way. And the other thing too, I remember when I first started sort of cooking more for myself, which was another thing that really made a difference in my life. I would get bored doing that, and so I didn't want to do it. It felt like a waste of time, which I know is this my own messed up thinking, but it was podcasts. You know, I listened to a podcast, or even set my laptop up and watch a movie and cut my vegetables and fruits and everything, and so it just made the time go by a little quicker, and I didn't feel like I was just sort of wasting my time. So that's a tip that can really help you. Now, the thing is with doing exercise, sometimes it's hard to get yourself to, you don't have to join a gym, you know. I actually did for a while, although recently since I've gotten here to Phoenix, I haven't joined a new one, and then I decided I don't really probably need to because we have all the fitness stuff here where I work at. In fact, it was sort of a revelation for me. For about, oh gosh, 6 or 8 weeks, I was just wrapped up in work, and I was just at it way too much, and I had gotten where I wasn't really exercising much at all, and gained a few pounds, and was feeling kind of sluggish and everything. And then, it's like I realized I have an exercise bike right here at work. And so I take my laptop in there and I sit there, 45 minutes, and bam, that's done. And then of course started integrating these other activities. In fact, just yesterday, it's so funny because I think about back when I was doing 5 minutes of a walk was killing me. Yesterday I did 45 minutes of Qigong with Chris Brennan, the Qigong instructor here, and then followed that up with 30 minutes of weight training with Jake Tomarup, the exercise physiologist, and felt great afterwards. I wasn't, worn out or anything. I felt great. And I got to tell you, seeing a personal trainer has taken my working out to the next level because, when there's somebody there watching you, I end up doing more reps. My squats are deeper. My form is much better. In fact, now might be a good time to get advance tickets to the upcoming gun show, people, because it's only a matter of time before these guns, these pythons, these bulging biceps become unleashed. Unleashed, I tell you. So get those tickets early. Now, I know it can be discouraging just doing 5 minutes because you think, what's it going to do? It's not going to be worth it. But remember, when you start doing 5 minutes, you can easily increase it later. In fact, I had I tell you, every client that's actually ever followed this advice has been up to 15, 20 minutes within weeks or months anyway. In fact, I even had a client one time who literally, she was significantly overweight, out of shape. She could only do the treadmill for 2 minutes. I said, fantastic, do that. And that's what she was doing. She was doing 2 minutes. And, it doesn't take long. It really doesn't take long before you're doing a lot more. And I remember I actually had a client. She stopped me in the halls one time. And she said, you know what? You told me to try that 5 minute thing. I think at work, we talked about, on her break, just getting up and walking around, going up some stairs or something for 5 minutes. And, she kept putting it off. And she said, I finally started doing that. And now I'm actually, I'm up walking, 10 or 15 minutes on my break. And I'm walking at my lunchtime, doing it 2 or 3 times a day. So it really does work. Now, you can actually, if you do, you could even break it up and do, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, these kind of things as well. So it doesn't all have to be at one time once you get past the just 5 minutes or even 2 minutes. Now, as I say, you will get stronger. You will start doing more within a very short amount of time. But even if you only did the 5 minutes, the research has shown, although it's a bit controversial, that there are some great benefits of doing short duration exercise. In fact, there's a 7-minute workout out there right now. Among other short duration ones, there's even a 4-minute one. And now this is sort of a high intensity one. The idea being that get in there with some high intensity for a short amount of time, and you'll get some really good benefits from that. And you can, I'll put in the show notes, you can just type in 7-minute workout and you'll get a couple of links for that in Google or Bing or whatever you like to use. And really some significant results. I did the workout and it was a bit of a challenge. You start off with 30 seconds of jumping jacks, and then you take a 10-minute break, and then you move on, and they just take you through these little quick sets of exercises. So it can be really beneficial. And you're not likely to get ripped or pumped or jacked or become some elite athlete by doing it, but a little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing, because you don't have to be perfect to be perfectly successful. Now, I know some of you may think that I harp on this topic of just do 5 minutes because I mention it all the time. But I'm telling you, it works, people. It's not a life-shattering revelation. It's not very glamorous. And, usually, every once in a while, somebody comes along and they make a lot of changes, huge, monumental changes, seemingly instantaneously in their life. Then they write a book about it. Then they go on Dr. Phil, Good Morning America, whatever show's popular, and they talk about it, so of course we all hear about them. So we may think that's the only way. But for most of us, our monumental changes happen over time. We don't write books about it. We don't appear on Dr. Phil. It's not glamorous, and nobody hears about it. But I'm living proof, people, it works. So, let's assume you're convinced. Ready to start your 5 minutes? Great. Now, if you're significantly overweight, out of shape, or have any health concerns, or think that you might have some health concerns, it's always a good idea to see a doctor before starting an exercise routine. I'll tell you, one of the easiest things to do once you've gotten checked out is a 5-minute walk. And there's some benefit to doing it outside, but you could also do it on a treadmill. You could set up the treadmill or an exercise bike right in front of your TV if you have to. Even if you just did something like that, did some walking or exercise bike during the commercials, while you're watching a TV show. That could be really beneficial. You could also do a walk in your living room. And the way you can do that, either with a treadmill, or a lot of my clients actually love this set of DVDs by Leslie Sanson. It's called Walk at Home, and pretty interesting. You could also use a video game system with a workout routine. There's also this program called Sit and Be Fit, if you can't stand long. Now, there's, Qigong is really easy, and that's kind of an exercise that started in China, and it's really good for improving your energy and strength and flexibility. Very gentle, and yoga. There's a great site called DoYogaWithMe.com. It's absolutely free. They've got a ton of different yoga routines for every level, lots of conditions that you could do. It's completely free. You don't even have to sign up for an account or log in or anything. Thank goodness, because I just forget the password like I do all the time. Now, these are not these websites. They're not a replacement for a quality instructor in person. And remember, you don't got to be in great shape to get started. I have so many clients that say, I can't go to yoga because I'm not flexible. That's like saying you can't take a Spanish class because you don't speak Spanish. The whole point of it is you'll get better with your flexibility. Now, if you need a little help, integrating the exercise as a habit, I've discovered this really cool app. I talked about it last time, and I just want to mention it again. It's called The Fabulous, and I've tried a lot of habit trackers, but this is the one I like the most. It'll help you set up some daily reminders and for habits that you'd like to adopt. And it even has that 7-minute workout that I talked about included in the app, as well as a stretching routine and a meditation timer. And P.S. No, I'm not getting paid to endorse it yet. So, I think the really important thing is that we just get started. Just get started with it, people. And remember, just because you exercise doesn't give you permission to eat like crazy, because you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. So, hey, thanks a lot for listening, everybody. Hope you got some good information. Please visit the website, jimkellner.com. And as always, be well, be awesome.